Happy New Year, everybody. It's your friend Johan here. Welcome back to the channel. I hope 2026 is treating you well so far. Sometime last year, I did a video tier ranking a bunch of emo songs, and yeah, you guys seem to enjoy that one a lot, especially on Instagram. Yeah, thank you so much for the views, comments, and just all the love that you sent me there. Really means a lot. To follow that video up, today we're going to be doing something similar, except I'm going to be talking about emo albums. So yeah, if you're into Midwest emo, post-hardcore, screamo, pop punk adjacent stuff, it's all here in this video for you. So yeah, here it is. This is me tier ranking a bunch of emo albums. Like most of my videos, we're going to do things in alphabetical order. So to kick things off, we're starting with Alexisonfire's self-titled record from 2002. This is definitely a Canadian heritage album, and I think it's underrated. I think this is underrated because are Alexisonfire's later records better? I think so, yeah. But at the same time, I don't think the band themselves give this record enough credit. I think I read in an article somewhere, I don't know if they were interviewing George or Jordan, but like one of those guys, they said that they're not very fond of their self-titled record, which is kind of unfortunate because this thing slaps. Yeah, it's rough around the edges, as are most, first projects of different artists and bands and all that, but yeah, I think this thing stands the test of time. Yeah, up next we got American football. A lot of you guys gave me some shit in my last video just because I said that this is okay. Yeah, I'm gonna double down and still keep this in okay. Believe me when I say this, I really tried my hardest to enjoy this, as I imagine most American football fans enjoy this. There are a lot of things that I like about it. There are a lot of things that I recognize are goated in a sense when it comes to, Midwest emo and just this style of emo music, but Midwest emo is just not my thing. Following American football, we got Thrice and their album Artist in the Ambulance. See, now to me, this is a goated record. Thrice is just that band, razor sharp musicianship. Production and mixing on this record is phenomenal. So yeah, there's not much to say. Thrice is just a goated band. Following Thrice, we got Jimmy Eat World and their album Bleed American. I'm gonna slide Bleed American right next to American football. It's just one of those things. Like, I do have a soft spot for, this record. I've kind of fallen out of love with it, and it has nothing to do with the band or this album itself. It just has to do with my tastes have changed throughout the years, and unfortunately this record no longer aligns to what I look for. On the other hand, our number 5 pick, Pierce the Veil's Collide with the Sky, is very much something that I think has aged like fine wine. Pretty much feel the same way as I did when I was like 13, 14 when I first started listening to Pierce the Veil. And dude, I mean, Hold On Until May is like one of my favorite songs of all time. So it's without a doubt that this thing is going to be put in, the great tier. The only reason why I won't put this in goated as of yet is just because I don't think enough time has passed, at least in terms of how I measure things. So yeah, Pierce the Veil's Collide with the Sky is undoubtedly a great album. Up next, we got Jawbreaker and their album Dear You that came out in 1995. Yeah, this thing is great. Despite this album being one of the older albums on this list, I think this album holds up just fine on all fronts, musically. I don't know if this makes sense, or I don't know if this is an accurate description, but Jawbreaker is kind of like a mix between, the Smiths, The Cure, and the Ramones, which to me in my head, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, I think it's great. And it's definitely my favorite emo record to come out of the 90s. Following that, we got Deja Entendu, which is an album by Brand New. I think this record is just okay. To be honest, I never really got into Brand New. I'd be lying to you if I put Brand New any higher than okay. Following that, we got Sunny Day Real Estate and their album Diary. And this one came out in 1994, making it the oldest thing on this list. In my last video, when I was talking about Sunny Day Real Estate, I left them in underrated, just because as much as they are, pioneers in a sense, a lot of later bands kind of, took what they did in the 90s and just, perfected it, specifically in the 2000s with bands such as Texas Is the Reason. But despite all that, you still got to give credit to the source. Following that, we got Silverstein and their album Discovering the Waterfront. And to me, this is quite easy. This is a goated record. This is my pick for like the greatest Canadian post-hardcore album of all time. And following Silverstein, we got Texas is the Reason and their album Do You Know Who You Are. When I was talking about Sunny Day earlier, I kind of touched upon Texas is the Reason. I'm actually going to slide Texas is the Reason right next to Sunny Day in underrated. Texas is the Reason is kind of like the Lauryn Hill of emo music in that they've only ever released one studio album that kind of just like cemented their legacy in their respective genres. And I don't know, maybe if they released more records or just like done more things, they would have been at the top of my list. Following that, we got Thursday and their album Full Collapse. And to me, this is a tad overrated. Kind of like the same thing I said about Brand New, except I clearly like Deja Entendu a little bit more. But Thursday has never really just clicked for me. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Understanding in a Car Crash is a fantastic song. But yeah, the rest of the album just doesn't do it for me. And sadly, I'm going to slide our next pick right next to Thursday and overrated. And that is Dashboard Confessional's album, Places You Come to Fear Most. Yeah, when it comes to emo music or just like rock bands in general, I really like loud drums and distorted guitar, and this Dashboard album is completely acoustic, or at least for the most part it's fully acoustic. Don't get me wrong, an acoustic guitar serves an important role. If I really wanted to listen to, you know, like a fully acoustic album with like dramatic and profound lyrics, I'd just listen to Fleet Foxes. And following Dashboard Confessional, we got Mineral and their album The Power of Failing. Yeah, this one's okay. Just like Texas is the Reason, Mineral is one of those bands that fall under the school of Sunny Day, except for me, I like Texas is the Reason a little bit more. But, you know, this Mineral album is not bad by any means. Gloria, what an awesome song. After that, we got one of my favorite bands of all time. That is Paramore and their record Riot. I've actually changed my mind when it comes to Riot. That other emo video that I did, I said that Riot was a goated album. I no longer think that's the case. Their first record, All We Know Is Falling, and then their third record, Brand New Eyes, are significantly better. Following that, we got another one of my favorite bands of all time, and that is Seosin, and this is their self-titled record from 2006. Without a doubt, this Seosin record is my favorite thing in this entire list. I love Anthony Green. I love Translating, but this Cove Reaper era of Seosin is by far my favorite era of this band. This self-titled record just means so much to me and remains to be one of my favorite, you know, emo post-hardcore records of all time. Up next, we got Hawthorne Heights and their album The Silence in Black and White. Yeah, this album is goated. Yeah, like when I think of dance crews, I think of the Jabberwockies. When I think of emo music, I think of Hawthorne Heights. They're just that band. Following Hawthorne Heights, we got Senses Fail and their album Still Searching. This thing is great. Yeah, Senses Fail is like one of them bands that you think is cool when you're a kid, but it's only when, you know, enough time has passed by, maybe you've reached adulthood, you realize how awesome Senses Fail is. Kind of like the same thing I said about Thrice. Like in this album, the musicianship is razor sharp. The mix and production are, you know, perfect pretty much. And yeah. Following that, we got Tell All Your Friends by Taking Back Sunday. Yeah, I've never been a Taking Back Sunday kind of guy, and the few Taking Back Sunday songs that I do like have Fred Mascherino in them. Up next, we got another one of my favorite bands of all time, and that is Under Oath and their album They're Only Chasing Safety. Without a surprise, this album is goated. I will say this is not my personal favorite record from Under Oath. My personal favorite record from Under Oath is Disambiguation, just because it's a lot heavier and grittier and darker. If I were to introduce a first-time listener to Under Oath, They're Only Chasing Safety is definitely the record that I would put them onto, just because it has all the quintessential Under Oath things. Spencer's great unclean vocals, Aaron Gillespie's great singing, drumming, Tim's legendary guitar riffs. All things Under Oath do begin with this record. And rounding us off at number 20, we got MCR and their album 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge. I actually very much enjoy 3 Cheers more than I do The Black Parade. 3 Cheers is better than The Black Parade the same way that Dookie is better than American Idiot. Like when I think of MCR, I think of songs that are on 3 Cheers. My favorite MCR song of all time, The Ghost of You. I never said I'd lie and wait forever. It's just so good. Coming in at number 21, we got Tiger's Jaw and their self-titled record. A lot of people would have them in their goated tier, but my experience with them is ever so recent. I don't know, give me 5 more years, this album will probably be in the goated tier. Coming up after that, we got The Used and their self-titled record. They're probably on a lot of people's Mount Rushmores when it comes to this genre, but Yeah, the Used have never been my kind of band. I don't know. I've always just preferred other bands. Following that, we got Emery and their album The Week's End. Dude, Emery is stupidly underrated. I just, man, this shit's so hard. At number 24, we got Finch and their album What It Is to Burn. Yeah, Finch is one of those bands that everyone's like, yo, Johan, you gotta check out Finch. Yo, listen to Finch, you'll love it. And I have. And finally, at our last spot, we got Sleeping with Sirens and their album With Eyes to Hear and With Ears to See. I'm happy that, songs like James Dean and TheBomb.com are finding a second life on TikTok and all that. This Sleeping with Sirens record slaps. This album's underrated, and I'm happy that this is the last thing to end this list on. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.